18-year-old Samantha Garvey is an extraordinarily accomplished high school senior. Ranked number 4 in her class at Brentwood High School in New York, president of the National Honor Society, a talented violinist in the school orchestra. But in the winter of 2012, she was also homeless. How did that happen?
Last year, my parents were both involved in an automobile accident, and I mean, they're fine now, but at the time, they were both on disability leave for a little bit, and then my father had to return to work immediately because we had little income coming in, and my mother, she wasn't able to because she just had a hard time. By the end of last year, on New Year's Eve, we had just fallen so behind on our rent that we were asked to leave. We were evicted from our home.
And where'd you go?
We moved over to a shelter.
It was in that homeless shelter that she received the news from her teacher and mentor, Rebecca Grella, that would dramatically change her life. Samantha had been named a semi-finalist in a prestigious national science competition for her research in marine biology. She
was acting really weird over the phone, and she kept saying, "Hold on a second," and she was asking me, "Can I come get you?" I said, "No, I'm homesick." And she was like, "Okay, can I visit you?" And I was like, "No," because at the time where I was living, I wasn't allowed to have any visitors. And then she finally says, "Do you know how much I love you?" And I said, "No." And she goes, "Enough to tell you that you're the semi-finalist." And I just screamed on the phone. She had me on the phone with all the administrators, so everyone starts laughing. And then I don't know, I just couldn't help it. I just started crying, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is the reality. I'm actually a semi-finalist." It felt like such a great accomplishment, working really hard and having long days in the lab and 3 years worth of work finally paying off,
Do you remember when you first said to yourself, "You know what, this science stuff is pretty cool"?
I've always really been interested. Just when you love something, you have really no explanation for it, it's your passion. My dad tells stories of me wanting an aquarium in the backyard, and I had to be pried off of the TV because I was watching National Geographic or Discovery Channel. And
so this is when you were young?
Yeah, definitely. A little kid. Instead of playing outside, I wanted to watch coral reefs and dolphins and all these crazy documentaries.
How do you make them think, "You know what, science is pretty cool"?
The same way a football coach, let's take any football coach, goes out and says, "Listen, I want you to be on my first string, and I want you to play on my team."
What'd you think about her and about this idea of getting plugged into this very serious science pursuit?
You see a teacher walk in with colored glasses and spiky hair and a nose piercing and tattoos, and you're like, "What's going on?" And then she's telling you about science and how she's had we're the top 1% if you do it, and just all these amazing things, really prestigious things that you wouldn't associate with a teacher walking in. So Samantha joined Rebecca Grella's program, but after nearly 3 years of research and faced with homelessness, she was ready to drop out to help her family. But once again, her teacher stepped in.
What was said was, "No, I'm not completing the program, and I need to go get a job, and I'm going to get paid, $250 for the week for a science camp. She can't have a job. I'll pay her if I have to. I will give her the money if I have to."
So it was a family matter in the sense that families argue sometimes? Yeah. And then they hug. Then they hug.
A family
matter.
Then they hug,
it was and everything is good.
It was definitely a family matter. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So Samantha stayed in the program, and fueled by the power of education and an inspirational teacher, was named a semi-finalist and embarked on a journey that took her from a homeless shelter to the White House.